Okay, just try to picture this for a second. You've got this huge, absolutely vital military shipment, and it's not near the fighting, not at all. It's anchored 800 kilometers away from any known front line, tucked away deep inside the Caspian Sea, which everyone thought was, totally secure.
Completely landlocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ultimate safe zone, or so they thought. They even hid this ship, the Port Olia 4, inside the Volga-Don shipping canal, a really narrow channel.
Right. Deliberately choosing somewhere tight, probably thinking it made it harder to attack.
Exactly. Who'd risk such a long-range strike into a restricted channel like that? Seemed unthinkable.
And that's the absolute shocker here, because just hours before dawn, 14 specialized aircraft took off, small drones. And in this, terrifyingly precise, coordinated attack, that ship carrying 5,000 tons of crucial stuff was hit, destroyed. The whole supply chain for maybe hundreds of future drones just poof, gone in the morning. This wasn't just some lucky hit, was it? This felt different.
Oh, it was a game changer. It completely exposed this massive vulnerability they thought didn't exist. It showed that distance, it just doesn't mean safety anymore, not in modern warfare.
Welcome to The Military Point, your ultimate source for sharp insights, analysis, and updates covering today's most important topics. We are diving deep today into how intelligence, really clever intelligence, turned what should have been the safest spot on the map into the most dangerous. We'll look at the planning, the tech, that incredible 1,200-kilometer reach.
It's quite a story.
Before we continue, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? We'd love to know. And hey, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more updates.
Okay, so let's talk about what was actually on this ship, the Port Olia 4, because the cargo is key to understanding why this attack happened. It was a big vessel, nearly 4,900 tons.
And carrying, 5,000 tons of military hardware?
About that, yeah. High-value components, mostly coming out of Iran. We're talking critical stuff for their drone program.
How critical? What specifically are we talking about?
Well, think advanced avionics, those complex navigation units, the gyroscopic sensors, the really essential bits for the Shahed 136 drones, and also the newer Shahed 238s.
The sophisticated parts, basically.
Exactly. And on top of that, a huge amount of 122-millimeter rocket ammunition. This wasn't just, a few strip-apart parts.
So if you estimate a drone kit, say, weighs around 200 kilos,
right,
this single shipment could build
several hundred drones, potentially, and provide weeks of sustained rocket fire. Losing this was a massive blow, guaranteed to disrupt their production pipelines significantly.
And all this time, the crew felt safe, tucked away 800 kilometers back in that specific canal, thinking they'd outsmarted everyone.
That false sense of security.
Yeah.
That's precisely what made it such a tempting target. And the fascinating part is how intelligence just completely erased that 800-kilometer buffer zone.
How did they even find it? Especially if it was trying to hide in a narrow channel.
Right. Well, two key intelligence streams made it possible. And this is where things get really interesting, kind of a what moment for military planners everywhere.
Okay, lay it on us. What were they?
First one, surprisingly, involved commercial satellites. Japanese ones, specifically using something called SAR synthetic aperture radar.
SAR, right. That sees through clouds and works at night.
Exactly. Unlike optical cameras, SAR uses radio waves. It basically paints a picture of the ground, or in this case, the water, and a big metal ship shows up clear as day, regardless of clouds or darkness.
So even if the ship turned off its electronic signals, its sheer physical presence gave it away.
Precisely. The captain had turned off the AIS transponder, the automatic identification system trying to go electronically dark. Standard procedure for high-value cargo.
But it didn't matter because the radar could still see the physical ship.
Right. The SAR data let analysts track its movements, its anchorage patterns. They figured out there was this predictable window, maybe 4 to 6 hours, where the ship would be stationary, vulnerable.
Okay, that's one source. What was the other? You said two streams.
The second piece was analyzing the ship's electronic communications, or rather the lack of them.
Wait, the silence gave them away. How does that work?
Well, that deliberate attempt to be low profile, that electronic quietness, it actually screamed high-value cargo to the intelligence analysts. It was like a confirmation. That silence, combined with the SAR tracking, created the perfect window. They knew what it was, they knew where it was, and they knew when it would be sitting still.
Incredible. So they have the target, they know the window, now they need the weapon, something with serious range. 1,200 kilometers is a long way.
Yeah, you can't just use any drone for that. They went with a specialized platform, the UJ-26 Beaver.
The Beaver, what's special about it?
It's designed for exactly this kind of deep penetration mission. Key thing is, it's built mostly from composite materials.
Ah, so low radar signature, harder to detect.
Exactly. Vital if you're flying for 5 hours over potentially hostile territory. It cruises pretty efficiently, too, around 150 to 180 kilometers per hour. That puts the whole Caspian Sea well within its range.
Okay, range, stealth. What about guidance? Flying that far, that low you mentioned, maybe 20 to 60 meters over water, that's risky. GPS can be jammed.
Extremely risky,
Yeah.
which is why the guidance couldn't rely on just one thing. It used a mixed satellite navigation, yes, but also internal navigation systems, inertial stuff. And crucially, it had a camera on board for the final phase, for positive target ID, just in case of jamming.
Makes sense. Redundancy. But the warhead, only 40 kilograms. Why so small for sinking a nearly 5,000-ton ship? Why not something bigger?
That was very deliberate, actually. It wasn't about creating a massive explosion. It was about surgical damage to guarantee sinking.
How so?
The warheads were specialized, a mix of fragmentation types and semi-armor piercing. The goal was specific: controlled damage, tearing holes in the deck, shredding electrical systems, hitting ventilation shafts, and most critically, punching holes below the waterline in key spots.
So less about one big boom, more about causing unstoppable flooding and system failure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like methodically disabling it piece by piece to ensure it went down, taking that valuable cargo with it, not just damaging the superstructure.
Okay, the attack itself. This wasn't just one drone. You said 14. That's complex coordination.
Immensely complex. 12 were the actual attackers. The other 2 were configured as communications relays
Relays, why?
for control and potentially sending back confirmation over that long distance, especially with the attackers flying so low, just 20 to 60 meters off the water to stay under radar.
Wow. Okay, so the attackers are hugging the waves. Where are the relays?
Flying higher, maybe 300 to 500 meters, still relatively low, but high enough to maintain links. To any radar operator watching, they probably just looked like, insignificant little blips, maybe background noise, if they were even seen at all.
A calculated risk that they'd be ignored.
Absolutely. And the attack itself wasn't just a swarm hitting randomly. They came in from 4 different directions, targeting specific weak points.
Like what?
Well, one group went for the stern, aiming for the engine room, ventilation shafts, trying to knock out power and critical systems right away.
Makes sense. Cut the power.
Another group targeted the bow, near the bridge and forward sections. And a third group aimed specifically for the midsection, right at the waterline, to cause rapid, serious flooding.
That level of planning for just one ship, it's pretty unprecedented, isn't it? So what actually happened when those first drones hit the hull?
It was fast and brutal, designed to overwhelm the crew immediately. Around 10:28 a.m. local time, the first drone hit. Upper deck, near the stern.
Near the engine vents you mentioned.
Exactly. It ripped open the deck plating, started fires instantly. Critically, it seems to have damaged electrical cables running to the damage control systems.
Oh, wow. So right from the start, their ability to fight the damage was compromised.
Severely. Fires starting, and the systems to fight them are already failing. Then, just seconds later, the second drone hits. Starboard side, below the waterline, major flooding starts in the lower compartments.
Okay, fire and flooding. This is escalating fast.
Very fast. The third and fourth drones hit in quick succession. One slammed into a cargo hatch, probably weakening the structure. The other hit the port water line. So now it's flooding from both sides. The ship starts listing. Smoke is pouring out.
Must have been chaos on board.
Absolute chaos. And then, just 3 minutes later, 10:31 a.m., the fifth drone hits. This one targets the bow, near the control room, the bridge area.
Taking out command and control.
Seems like it. Reports indicate it short-circuited main electrical panels. Total bridge blackout. They'd be down to emergency battery power, if that was even working properly. The ship is crippled, listing, partially blind.
And the attacks are still coming.
Oh, yes. Between 10:33 and 10:36, 2 more drones hit. Coordinated strikes, again starboard side, ripping open a bigger gash, making the flooding much worse.
So at this point, the ship is clearly doomed.
Absolutely. By 10:38 a.m., the order comes. Abandoned ship, fires are out of control, multiple sections are flooded. The list is getting worse.
Did rescue teams try to get there? Tugs from the port.
They did. Port authorities sent out 2 tugboats and a patrol craft. But the attackers had planned for this.
Ow! What did they do?
This is maybe the most chilling part of the plan. They used the last 2 attack drones, the 11th and 12th. As the crew was trying to get into lifeboats, and as the tugs were approaching,
Yeah.
these 2 drones detonated near the tugboats, not necessarily to sink them, but to create these explosive barriers in the water, basically scaring them off, blocking their path to the Port Olia 4.
Wow. So they weren't just sinking the target, they were actively preventing any rescue or salvage attempt.
Precisely. Denying assistance, ensuring the ship and its cargo went down completely. It's incredible foresight.
So the end result?
The ship was fatally wounded. By 10.41, another drone hit, worsening the list to about 7 degrees. The pumps, whatever was still working, were totally overwhelmed. By 10:50 a.m., it was clear it was going down. It capsized not long after.
And satellite images confirmed it later?
Yep. By about 2:30 that afternoon,
Yeah.
satellite photos showed it almost completely submerged, gone.
Now, the official Russian response. Initially, they said what? Minor damage.
Classic playbook, right? Downplay it immediately. Claim only minor damage was sustained. But that story just didn't hold up.
How come?
Open source intelligence, you had photos emerging pretty quickly, satellite imagery. You could see this massive plume of smoke from the wreck, visible from over 10 kilometers away. Ukraine then officially confirmed the strike on August 14th. The minor damage story fell apart fast.
So the physical evidence was just undeniable. What about the strategic impact, though? Losing 5,000 tons. How badly did that hurt them?
It hurt significantly. Remember those components, the avionics, navigation units? Losing that specific batch created a major bottleneck in their drone production. You can't just conjure up those specialized parts overnight.
So it wasn't just the sheer quantity, but the type of components lost.
Exactly. That was the primary damage. It forced a slowdown, probably weeks, maybe months of delay, while they tried to source replacements or reconfigure their production lines. It hit them right where it counted for their ongoing drone campaign.
And the bigger picture, what message did this send? You said distance isn't safety anymore.
It fundamentally shattered that assumption, especially for the Caspian Sea. It was seen as this secure, internal logistical lake. Suddenly, it's not.
Any immediate fallout from that realization?
Oh, yeah. The maritime insurance market reacted almost instantly. War risk premiums for ships operating anywhere near that area. They shot way up.
Money talks.
It certainly does. And diplomatically, you had ripple effects. Other Caspian nations started calling for emergency security meetings. Suddenly, everyone sharing that water realized the game had changed. It's now a contested, high-risk zone.
So the real victory here for Ukraine wasn't just sinking one ship, even a valuable one. It was injecting massive uncertainty into Moscow's entire strategic calculation.
Absolutely. They forced Russia to rethink its whole rear area security concept. Assets they thought were completely safe, hundreds of kilometers from any fight, now look vulnerable. They have to spend resources, time, effort protecting things they never thought needed protecting before.
It's a huge strategic headache, enabled by smart intel and long-range tech. That old sense of security based on distance just evaporated.
Gone. Replaced by the reality that with the right intelligence, often commercially available intelligence now, and the right technology, nowhere is truly safe. Any perceived safe zone can be reached.
Which really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other hubs, what other supply lines, maybe rail depots, maybe other ports far from the front that were considered totally secure, are they now looking over their shoulder? Where's the next unexpected vulnerability going to show up? Definitely something to think about. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
It's certainly a question military planners worldwide are grappling with right now. Redrawing the maps, reassessing the risks.
You've been listening to The Military Point. Stay sharp, stay informed, and we'll catch you next time.